traders at UBA said they expect a quiet Treasury bills market as investors set their sights on a 141.7 billion naira auction today. Chuka Nwachukwu, head of ALM and balance sheet management at UBA, joins me to give us a sense of market sentiments today. Chuka, thank you for taking the time out to join us today. Well, let's start with the auction. Investors or some analysts were saying that they were expecting lower stop rates at today's auction. Talk to us about subscription levels and what we saw, what the outcome was.
Yeah, absolutely. We expect a lower decline in yield again. Last auction came out at 6.23. There was a deficit of well over 600 billion. Subscription, the last auction was about 168 billion, and well over 720 billion was on offer. So you can see the huge deficit. And after that, between the last auction and this auction, there have been a lot of liquidity in the system. We've seen system liquidity this week alone hover between 820 to 850 billion levels, and that's quite huge and quite significant. So we expect the deficit of the last auction to filter into this current auction, and then we expect to see low rate as low as 5.2, 5.5% levels.
All right, we'll come back to that, but take us around to the other segments of the market today, money market and, of course, the bond market.
Yeah, on the bond market, we've seen yields continue to decline. We've seen yield decline, for example, the 2053 declined from 15.7. It came out at the last auction to currently trading around 14.5, 14.6 levels. This has also filtered into the other maturities, especially on the 2037, which is most attractive to investors because of the high coupon. This is also as a result of high liquidity in the system, like I mentioned earlier. We've seen system liquidity as high as 800 billion, and this has continued to chase the little investment opportunity there are in the fixed income market, and that's why we've seen decline in yield.
Right. What about the FX market? I believe that we saw a decline yesterday. Did the Naira gain some strength today?
Funny enough, it declined furthermore today. Yesterday we saw around 777 levels. Today it's trading around 78 levels, and so that's not too huge decline, but okay, that's depreciation. And the policy of government, which is to to free the exchange rate and allow the market forces to determine the rate. It will hover around this depreciation for a while, pending when this huge demand continue to ease. And as long as we've seen inflow into the system through the FDI and through the government policies, we will see that on the long run, the policy will pay, and then we start seeing the appreciation in the Naira.
Sometimes it gets a little confusing. So would you say we're still in a price discovery phase, or the forces of the fact that there is more demand than supply in the market is still causing some kind of distortion where we see the Naira, we see these huge gaps in the daily oscillations?
Yeah, it's huge demand. The demand, don't forget, what the government has just done is to free the hold on the peg on the exchange rate. It doesn't stop the demand for being there. And so I guess probably what is even happening in the market is that most customers feel that with the government pronunciation that liquidity is in the system, but that isn't the case. Demand still outweighs supply, and so we need to allow the process to run for a while, bring in interest, especially from the FDI, and then with the major shake-up and major reform going on in the oil industry, and then of course the input daily production has increased. That will start bringing in the much needed savings we need in our foreign reserve, and that will help cushion the effect of the demand.
Right, I was going to ask you to look into your crystal ball to see if that, how this was going to play out, but you have, of course, made some very good points there. Of course, we know market forces, and of course, we need to also fix the supply side. Thank you so much, Chuka, for talking to us today. Always a pleasure. Chuka Nwachukwu, Head of ALM and Balance Sheet Management at UBA.